These might just be the world's best set of irons for the rest of us. and I know what you're gonna say. As soon as I post this video, you're gonna say in the comments, well, if they're so great, why aren't all the tour players going to them? And that is a great question. And the point is, you're not a tour player. And you're not looking for what they're looking for. And you're not playing on the courses they're playing on. And you're not being sponsored by the people that they're being sponsored by. But the best set of irons in the world is gonna be the ones that make you better and shoot lower scores and have an easier time on the golf course and make it more fun out here. So you can hop out here anytime you want, drop a ball and know, hey, I've got just the right shot for this. Because the greatest set of irons in the world isn't a set of irons that you're gonna hit the 7-iron 210 yards. Oh, hey man, I just smashed my 7-iron 216 yards, and that was longer than your 7-iron that you hit. So clearly my irons are better. I'm better than you are. I'm amazing. Now, a great set of irons is only about having the right shot in your bag at the right time, knowing that the distance that you have and the club that you have in your hand are going to match, that you're going to hit it the distance that you want. It doesn't matter what the number on the bottom of the club is. It matters if you know you're going to hit this shot, the yardage that you want to hit it. And so, tour player, non-tour player, other guy, terrible, great, it all has to do in irons with how far you know that you hit every shot. Oh, go in, baby. You see, there haven't really been any advances in irons for the last, 50 years. Like, you could grab a set of irons from 50 years ago, slap a new set of grips on it, and it's gonna perform basically the same. And that's why when you're a tour player and you sign with a company and you know they're gonna be able to produce a set of irons for you that you like, because there's this paradigm that we have of all the different clubs are different lengths and different lofts, and they produce a set of irons. But you see, Avoda's gone ahead and made some advances and done something that nobody else has done. See, here's what they've got going on. They've taken 6 of the clubs in the bag, okay? These 6 clubs right here, lob wedge all the way to 9-iron, and they've made them all the same length. Crazy, I know, right? You see, they've taken the idea of a same length set of irons, and they've said, well, what if we made the lob wedge all the way down to the 8-iron the exact same length, the exact same weight, and the exact same feel? So no matter what, with all of your scoring clubs, whether you pick up the lob wedge or you pick up the 9-iron, when you're inside, however far it is you hit your 8-iron, which for me is about 160 yards. So inside of 160 yards, anytime I'm making a full swing, I'm making the exact same full swing. I pick this one up, I set up and swing the same. It feels just like the lob wedge. And then I pick up the pitching wedge or the 8-iron or the 9-iron, and I get the benefits of the same length principle of repetition and swing feel being exactly the same. Hey, you know what? If I learn a swing with this club right here, I learn 6 of them, and it's going to make me better within the scoring area. But then there's a problem. You see, the problem with continuing with the same length idea is that as you get to the 7, the 6, the 5, and the 4, you have problems with launch angle, height, spin. A same length 4-iron is difficult to hit. And so what they've done is they said, okay, well, what if we did same length all the way to the 8-iron, but then had variable length in the 7, the 6, the 5, and the 4. And so they've released a set of irons that is different than every other one available on the market. Now, they've made the weight of the shorter clubs a little bit heavier so that they can lighten the 7, the 6, the 5, and the 4, and so they're the exact same swing weight as the shorter clubs. So they feel very, very similar, though they're a little bit longer as you get out there, but you're going to get the club head speed that you expect from a 4-iron. And you're actually going to get a little bit faster because it's a little bit lighter than your 4-iron. So that's what they've done different. They've taken the industry and they've said, well, what if we did something different? And from where I stand right now, they're about the only people who have, which makes it really, really intriguing to me. So let's find out if these things are any good and if they could potentially make you shoot lower scores, which in the end is what we're all going for, isn't it? So I'm going to go through the scoring clubs, how they feel, what they're like, what it's like pitching and chipping around the greens with a set of wedges that are the length of a 9-iron. And then we'll talk about the shapeability of the mid-irons. And you're like, oh, shapeability, what kind of a word is that? You know, moving it right, moving it left, what they feel like, forgiving, not forgiving. And then we'll dive a little bit into the long irons, which, to be honest, took me a little bit of getting used to with them being a little lighter. Avoda's combo length irons, let's dive into them and see how they perform. So let's talk about the biggest benefit of this set, and that is the thing that nobody else is doing, that only Avoda has done with this set of combo length clubs, and that is 6 clubs of your set are exactly the same. Same length, same weight. They only differ by the loft by 5 degrees per club. So even though the length of the shaft is exactly the same, the loft makes up the difference of yardage. And the whole principle behind this is to take what would be the benefits of a same length set of irons for your scoring clubs inside of 150 yards and to make it easier to succeed with them, to be able to hit the ball closer because you're doing the same swing over and over and over. So really, this is for anybody who wants to be able to hit it closer to the hole from inside 150 yards, which I think is pretty much everybody because, as you say, scoring clubs, that's the thing that we want. We want to have chances for birdie. We want to be able to make those birdies. And 150 yards and in is where that happens. And so if you learn one swing, you know that inside of 150 yards, that one swing, depending on which stick you choose, is going to get you to the hole. And you don't have to guess on ball placement or how far forward or back in your stance or how far away from your body it is. It eliminates some of the variables from our golf game. So they've taken those benefits from the same length system and applied them to a variable length set of clubs by switching it up. 6 clubs same, 4 clubs different. So you learn one swing, you multiply it by 6. If you're a beginner golfer or an experienced golfer who's trying to dial in your game, even with the beginner golfers, you've got an easier time learning all those shots close to the green, which is awesome. In addition to that, if you then learn a new shot, okay, so let's say you've got your standard 8-iron shot and you apply that all the way through your lob wedge, that's 6 shots. Then you learn a punch shot, a half shot, a 3/4 shot, a cut, or a draw with those shots. Every new shot that you learn, you multiply by 6 because it's in the same ball position, it's the same place in your stance, it's the same feel of your club. And so you can learn and apply different swings to the same clubs and start working on your shot shaping a whole lot easier than you can with a variable set. So let me show you how this sort of works. I've got here in front of me 100 and what do we have there on the cart here, Sherry? Okay, so about 135 yard shot, and I'm going to play 3 different shots. I'm going to play a 9-iron, an 8-iron, and a pitching wedge. Now the 9-iron is kind of my standard shot for right here. Okay, so regular swing, set up to the ball. And hit a lovely shot to 3 feet from the hole. Good news for me, birdie putt. All right, now let's say that I had learned a new shot and I wanted to play something different. This here is the 8-iron. Now I'm gonna play a different swing that I've learned, a punch shot or a 3/4 shot, which should go a club less or half a club less than my standard shot. Okay, it's gonna go lower and hopefully even closer to the hole. Ha! Look at that! It was closer to the hole! And now I've got my pitching wedge. And you say, well, your standard shot at the 9-iron was the right distance. Yes, but I picked up a new shot. And that is my, I don't even know what to call it. The go for broke shot, I guess? I don't know. It's all of what I've got. Okay, so I can take the pitching wedge and I can set it up for that shot. It's gonna go higher and hopefully it gets next to the hole as well. Well, I missed that one, but you get the concept. As you apply different swings through your game, you apply them through all of the different shots in your bag, and you can have a wider variety of swings and shots and shapes without having to learn them for every club, because every one you learn is 6 clubs deep. So then you get into the wedges, and again, it's the exact same feel as that 8, 9 pitching wedge, Now I've got the gap wedge and the sand wedge here at about 105 yards, which is going to be about a full sand wedge, but a 3/4 gap wedge. So we hit those two different swings, again, with the same choosing of the club. Takes the variables, a few of them anyways, out of the golf game. And the fewer variables that you have, the more consistent you're going to be with less practice. So essentially you're getting more out of your golf game just by choosing a different set of irons. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Now we hit the gap wedge. Same spot, different shot choice. I'm going to take a 3/4 approach to it. And just by choosing the different club that you got in those 6, you're going to hit the ball closer to the hole. So for that very reason, I absolutely love them. I've played the same length sets. I've played the combo length set now. There's going to be some, I've got an individual review of the same lengths, and I've got an individual review of now these combo lengths, and I'm going to do a comparison of the two. But for the sake of this discussion, I love these 6 golf clubs. They're just on the money. So I want to show you the trajectory and the distance of each of the 8 through lob wedge to give you an idea of what it looks like coming off the club. All right, so this one here is the 8 iron. And that was 163 yards. 9 iron. There it is. That was 154. Pitching wedge. $132. $115. Sand wedge. At 108. And lob wedge. At 90 yards. So the gapping between them is really, really fantastic. And it all has to do with the 5 degrees of loft in between each of the clubs. Lob wedge. So the lob wedge is a 60, the sand wedge is a 55, gap wedge is a 50, 45. No matter which of these irons I pull out, I know exactly what the feel's going to be. I know where to put it in my stance. I know the shot that I want to hit. And frankly, it just makes the whole process easier. So let's talk a second about forgiveness. I've been asked on a couple of occasions how the feel of the clubs is, or they feel fantastic. But how, like, are they a player's iron? Are they a forgiving iron? And as I said earlier in this video, what we really want from our irons is the ability to be able to know what distance we hit them, okay? Good or bad. Whether we hit it on the center or slightly off center, we want it to go relatively the same distance. So we don't want any hot spots, and we don't want our toe or heel shots to go way behind. So I've got a 6 iron here, and I'm going to hit a standard 6 iron to this pin, and then I'm going to intentionally hit one off the toe and intentionally hit one off the heel, so you can see the performance of it for yourself if you have an off center hit. So this is the standard 6 iron. I'd say that was pretty good. So landing relatively pin high there. So this one I'm going to play off the toe. I'm actually going to hit the toe of the club with it. Let's see how short it lands. That was definitely toe-ish. Wow, toe-ish. And still went the distance. What about the heel? I'm going to hit the heel of the club and try not to shank it. That was definitely heel, a long ways on the heel. Going straight at the flag and landing a little bit short, so like front of the green. You say, well, is it forgiving or not? Well, I just hit one off of the toe, off the center, and off the heel. And other than the heel shot was a little bit short, but everything else was there. So Well, here, let's look at one more thing. Let's put a tee under it and hit it what would be a flyer, okay, and see what happens then. Because what the other thing we don't want is for shots, you know, that are fluffy and up there to go flying way over the green. Okay, hit that one really nicely. And again, lands in exactly the same spot. Well, maybe not exactly the same. I'll have to check out the drone footage to see how it did there. But because what we want in our irons is a consistent distance every time we put a swing on or put the same swing on it, you've got a huge area of club face here that's going to give you exactly what you want. Now, what about shapeability? Can I hit a draw or a fade with it? Now, the draw is going to go a little bit further, but let's just have a look. I'm going to start this one at the right of the sandy area there, and I'm going to draw it back left. Well, it is drawing, but I did not draw it enough. What about the fade? Can we move it from the left to the right to come into this pin? Well, we can, but they are workable. You can shape them right to left, left to right. So we're starting here with a rather challenging 210-yard shot, which is about the length that I've been hitting this 4-iron. Now we're going to see if I have the cojones to comfortably hit this at the flagstick. Now what about the 5-iron? What about the 6-iron? That one almost went in. And the 7-iron. So you can see in real time the different yardages from 215 all the way down to 180. Pair that together with the 6 clubs that are all the same length, and you've got from 80 yards all the way up to 220, eliminating as few of the variables in your golf game as possible. So, ooh, good job, Avoda. These are feeling pretty darn good. So there you have it. This is a combination between a set of same length irons and a variable or standard set of irons. And that's where you get the name combo length. They're the only ones to do it, so they get to come up with the name. So let's talk about chipping. Chipping with these clubs is a little bit different. It's going to take you a little bit of getting used to, because each of these wedges is the length of a 9-iron, which is a little bit longer than your standard sand wedge, lob wedge, and gap wedge. But once you get onto it, oh boy, it's pretty fantastic. I don't think I will be going back to any kind of a shorter wedge. You see, with the longer club, you've got a little bit more speed on your club head, a little bit easier than you do with the shorter wedges, and I really haven't noticed any lack of control or change of control, being able to hit any shot around the green. I've got the lob wedge right here, I've got the pin over there. So I'm just gonna hit a standard little chip shot with the lob wedge, up and over. And it works very nicely. The same thing, if you watch my simple chipping video, I talk about this particular brand of chipping or version of chipping, where you're just messing around with the club face angle in order to get higher or lower. So same shot, but different club head trajectory. Nice high shot like that, or a low shot like this one. Again, same thing. And we can bump and run it. So with that in mind, I can expand those offerings to the different club lengths and trajectories that we have. So here I've got, I've jumped down to the gap wedge, and I can play that same shot with the gap wedge and do a bump and run. Or I can open up the face of the gap wedge and get a little bit more height. Okay, or I can switch to the sand wedge and just choose the trajectory that I want just based on the club that I'm hitting. So you learn one shot with these wedges, and then all of a sudden you've got 9 different shots to hit with them. So then you say, well, what about something like a flop shot? Is it any harder or easier? Well, yes, it is. Because you're getting more speed with the lob wedge, hitting the higher shots is actually a fair bit easier. So if I held right at the end of the club, opened up my club face, and played a nice little standard flop shot, oh, I'd say that's pretty nice too. Stop on a dime almost. Can we hit it any higher than that? I don't know. Let's give it a try. Whew. That was high. Well, what about the low little bump and run shots? Let's go have a look at those. So then we got a nice little bump and run in front of us and say, okay, well, which of the clubs am I going to use? Well, guess what? I'm going to use the gap wedge in this instance because I want to play the same shot, but I just want to run it along the ground. So the lower trajectory, it doesn't matter so much which club you're picking. Ooh, that was pretty good. Just about rolled that one in. You're thinking about your clubs based on what trajectory you want the ball to go. That one might go in. Come on, baby. Oh! Oh! Or I can take the lob wedge and set up the exact same way, eliminating the variables, and play it that way. Not bad. Let's go check out the bunker shots. All right, we got a short little lob wedge bunker shot here. Oh, come on, baby. Not too bad under that downslope. So then we got this longer bunker shot here with the sand wedge. Then I could play an even longer bunker shot with the gap wedge. All in all, I'd say those are pretty versatile. So I've been a Cleveland guy for a long, long time, and so I was a little bit apprehensive going to these wedges, being like, well, Avoda wedges, do I really want to set up Avoda wedges? I've got my Clevelands over there, I've been playing them for 20 years. But I gotta say, I'm impressed. I feel like I've lost nothing. I feel like my chipping is as good as it's ever been, maybe even better. I'm not sure, depends how much time I'm putting into it. But these right here are doing everything that I want around the green, and my short game has become simpler, if nothing else. I'm putting less time in and getting more out of it because the different shots that I hit, it's just about my creativity now, because I'm picking a few stock shots that I'm swinging and just doing that over and over and over, and then adjusting the loft or the club selection as to which shot or which distance that I want to hit it. So if you're debating between whether or not to include the wedges in your set purchase, include them. Yeah, they're awesome. So use those 6 clubs for your own benefit. Start by learning a single swing that you can apply across all 6 clubs, and then start to branch out. Hit low, high, right, left, shorter, longer, and apply those to the 6 clubs ahead, and you'll just be having a lot more fun with the game. You'll be picking shots from the fairway instead of just trying to get it on the green. And what about pitch shots? Well, works pretty well for that too. So then we have the 4-iron and the 5-iron. Now, to be honest, I had a little bit of trouble getting used to these. Now, I switched from a same length set to these longer ones just before doing this review. So I was 6 months into the same length set, and then I came to this set. And so there was a little bit of adjustment period for me. The club head felt a little bit light. I tried some lead tape on the back, and it improved the feel, but it switched up a little bit on the set, and I didn't like that. So I went to the range and I spent some time with them, and as I say, it did take me a bit. I was fanning them to the right. I think I'm feeling pretty good. Now, in the last couple of days, just before the shooting of this video, I've had 5 balls from 200 to 220 inside 15 feet. So now I missed a couple of greens there as well. I did fan one right, but I'm really getting onto them and enjoying these. So let's see how this little demonstration goes, if it's good or bad or indifferent. Now that one right there was a little bit to the right. One of those little fan things that I got going on. There it is.
This one here is right on the money, and
that was a pretty good one.
The trajectory that this 4-iron is going to give you.
But there's definitely a bit of an adjustment period to the long irons for me, so just be aware when you get your set that you go to the range and put some time into these long irons.
So what about pricing? Currently they start at $13.79 US, which is a little bit more than some of the sets of irons that you'll see on the marketplace. But irons last for a long time, so you're always going to want to choose the ones that are going to be right for you long term over maybe a little bit less expensive short term. I've never been disappointed with spending a bit more on my irons. Of course, if what I'm getting is worthwhile to me.
So who are these clubs for? Now I got these clubs brought down to me, and it was just before an event that I had to play, and it was a 2-man event, and it was, you know, it was a big deal. I had to play it well. And I said, okay, well, I'm not doing this review. I'm not changing to these clubs until after the event. Well, that went out the window the second time that I played with them because I was just throwing darts at the flagstick, and I put the other clubs in the closet for the time, and I played the event with these clubs, and I played really, really well and made a lot of birdies. So who is it for? It's for anybody that wants to get better. Is that all of us? I don't know, maybe it is. Maybe it's getting better in certain areas. It's certainly going to help you from 150 yards and in, making your game simpler, eliminating some of the variables from it. And really one of the most important factors in here is that you get fit for the clubs. Now, there's not a lot of in-person physical fitting locations yet. So even though that they have a wonderful fitting system, they don't have a lot of locations yet. And so if you're not close to one of them, I want to give you a little bit of confidence. I ordered these using their online fitting, and I have a bit of a unique story to go with this because I did their online fitting. I ordered the clubs, I bought them, I had them sent. Then I went down to the trade show in Orlando and I met the guy who did the fitting online. So it's not some magical AI fitting. It's actually a person behind the scenes looking at your swing, looking at your specs, looking at the style of swing that you have, and then recommending the shaft, the lie angle, and the length of your clubs. And I met this guy, the guy that did my online fitting, and he didn't know that he had already done one for me. And so I asked him to fit me in person. And he fit me to the exact same settings that he fit me in the online fitting. Okay, so just because you're not able to get there in person, you're like, well, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger. It's spot on. It's when you get your clubs, you will be a happy, happy person. Do I love them? Yes, I love them. Are they the best clubs in the world? Well, they have to answer the question. Are they gonna make you a better golfer and help you shoot lower scores? The wedges are fantastic. The short irons are fantastic. The mid irons are fantastic. The long irons took me a touch to get used to, but they're really nice on the distance. I get great distance out of them. 220 on my 4-iron, which is a lot for me, and they look really, really pretty. And that 6-iron test that I did earlier in the video of the off-center hits, I mean, that even surprised me when I did it. The toe hits go the same distance, the heel hits just a touch short, and the center hits don't have a hot spot shooting them over the green. So you're going to get consistent distances, you're going to be able to put easier swings on them, and the time that you do have to actually spend at the range is going to make a bigger difference than with a variable set where you always have to figure out where the ball position is in your stance. So what do I think? Pretty darn good.